like was said, if you see some people from your chapter who should be here, who should receive this information, please invite them to come on right now. They don't want to miss this. This is exactly what all the chapters have been asking for, a real in depth leadership training as far as infrastructure, as far as roles and responsibilities, as far as anything that has been brought up and uplifted that you all wanted to be trained on. We made sure to try and include it in this leadership three-part training series for y'all. So we're gonna do this one here in April today, and then we have one scheduled for May, and we have one scheduled for June. But we'll get into that further along in the presentation. So hey, my name is Antoinette. I'm the National Field Organizer for PWN. I wish I could come on camera. I'm really sorry that I can't. I might join from my phone and like be able to, so y'all can see my face. But my camera is acting real wonky right now. Okay. But I'm so happy that folks are on. And I think we can go ahead and go to the next slide, Crystal. So who we are. So if you are in the, which all of y'all are in the chapter here at PWN, then y'all should know a little bit about PWN. But some folks are new in their roles. We have welcomed some new chapter members. We are recruiting on the ground. We are re-engaging people. So this is just a brief overview of who we are at PWN. So PWN is the only national organization in the U.S. led by and for women and people of transgender experience living with HIV. Founded in 2008 by 28 diverse women living with HIV, including women of trans experience. Some of those women y'all know are the reasons that our chapters are formulated today. So we thank them for starting our chapters. Today we have over 3,000 members nationwide. Our chapters are in Colorado, Louisiana, New York, Pennsylvania, South Carolina, Texas. You also don't see Alabama on here. And then we have state leads in another 12 states. And then, of course, our mission, which a lot of you all know this, is to prepare and involve women living with HIV in all diversity, in all levels of policy and decision making. Next slide, Crystal. Oopsies. Hold on one second. Okay. So at PWN, we center the voices of people living with HIV, honoring their lived experience, using a racial justice and gender justice lens to examine the impact of HIV programs and policies. But we demand Black liberation, we demand trans liberation, rights for all people. We center reproductive justice, including abortion access and gender affirming care. And you all, in this next slide, you see some of our values, which you all actually use when you are creating your agendas. Um, yeah, your agendas and you all have your values and align with PWN's values. So some values I see here is self-identity, root cause analysis, human rights, balance of power, creating equity, herstory, mentorship, meaningful involvement, leadership development, accountability, and sustainability, as well as allies and accomplices. Anybody had any thoughts about our values? And if you want me to get into it more, we can, but we probably will touch on it further in the slides. Awesome. Let's go on to the next slide. Alrighty, so why are you here? So over the next 3 months, Positive Women's Network USA chapter members and chapter leaders will learn in a three-part leadership development series how to gain the skills needed to build a strong PWN chapter. The training will be open to all PWN chapter members, and usually at this time, we have our co-chairs, our co-chair meetings. So we have flipped it a little bit so that we can have this infrastructure leadership training series for y'all, and then in replace of the co-chair calls. And then after the 3 months, we will be back to having our co-chair calls at the same exact time. But the training will be open to all PWN chapter members in leadership. The Spring into Chapter Leadership is a three-part series that will cover how to build an effective chapter, what a chapter is, what's important, and um, what is not chapter work, and recruitment and retention, as well as addressing group dynamics. And your facilitators for today, we can go to the next slide, is myself, Antoinette. Hey y'all, I'm your national field organizer. I specifically work with New York City, New York State chapter, Louisiana chapter, Alabama chapter, as well as our Dallas chapter and South Carolina. And we also have Crystal, who can go ahead and introduce herself.
Hi, everybody. Can you see me? Oh, hello. Okay. Hey, everybody. I'm Crystal. I use she, her pronouns. I'm the organizing manager at PWN USA. And I have touched or keep in touch with or talk or text many of y'all I see here. But some chapters that I work closely with are Pennsylvania, Colorado, and Texas, the greater Houston area. These are chapters that do integrated voter engagement, and we can talk a little bit about that, but all of our chapters are doing some amazing organizing work. And for the chapter members that are either new or want to understand a little bit better, this is what this training series. So thanks, Antoinette. I'll turn it back over to you.
Yeah, right now I am.
Okay.
Awesome. Thank you, Crystal. I'm just having a little trouble unmuting. Um, so you can go ahead and go to the next slide. So some of our goals for our time together is to strengthen our chapter's membership understanding of chapter work and commitment to building a chapter mentorship. We also want to bring PWN members together and build community, strengthen connections, and learn together. So oftentimes, our chapters are working in silos, but we don't realize how much commonality happens across the board in the work that we are all doing. So we want to be able to have a space for y'all to information share, for y'all to share some thought process, so y'all can work together in order to really develop your own chapters in your states, but still being able to reach out when you need it. So some of today's learning objectives, um, why are chapters formations important to us? So how do we define our chapter so that we can go out and we can speak about our chapters? What a chapter looks like and what does it do? Who can be a part of a chapter and what does it look like to have our disclosure piece included in there? Do we have to disclose? I know this is an ongoing question. Do we have to be in the forefront? Do we have to disclose? Do we have to be open? So we will cover that today. And then what chapters can expect from PWN? So how PWN can support you, how we will support you. What PWN expects from the chapter. So some of our expectations, are they in line with our core values? And then of course your chapter structure. And next slide, Crystal. And just to get us started, we want to go through some housekeeping. So as you know, the training is being recorded. So you can, if you can, please mute yourself when you're not talking so everyone else around you can be able to hear. You do not have to be on camera if you don't want to. It's not on here, but I just want to make it clear you don't have to be on camera if you don't want to. But we love to see your faces. This is a brave space, so we encourage deep listening and being very present. I like to say being present, being open, and being connected to folks around you. Take space to make space. So this space is for learning and growth. If you have questions, you can put them in the chat, or you can just raise your hand using the raise your hand feature, and then we'll make sure that we're monitoring so we know who to call on and who's next in queue. But if you find yourself oversharing or sharing a lot, try and give space for other people who you may not have heard from to speak up and share. We know that some of us are very, very seasoned in this work, so we come with a lot of knowledge and expertise, but we want to make sure that folks who are new in the field can also speak up and ask some of their questions and share some of their experiences. And then also knowing that perfection is not required here. We throwing that word out the window. So it's okay to acknowledge when mistakes come up. In fact, we encourage it. So we are encouraging for people to be open, for you to use the language that you are comfortable with, but we will also be able to make adjustments. We will Do everything in the spirit of love and in the spirit of trust. And I'm going to pass it back to Crystal.
Thank you, Antoinette. That was beautiful. I just want to go back to this brave space thing. Some people might have heard of like, we're creating a safe space. The difference between safe space and brave space is this is a no judgment zone. So when we say perfection is like not a requirement, it really is not. That is not the expectation. That's not the standard, even though we are excellence. Okay. We know we are excellence, but perfection is not the requirement. Your best is wherever you are. So we encourage you to like push a little bit past the discomfort. If you are thinking something that you're not really sure of, it's okay to ask a question. We can see the chat. You can raise your hand. This is why we're here for you. Okay, so we can go into the next slide. Thank you. So let's get into it. When we're talking about building an effective chapter, and you can go to the next slide. We're talking about groups of people. And we put emphasis on organizing in formations or groups of people. When we say formation, that is just a group of people who are working together on a common issue. There is so much power in formations or groups of people. You may have heard people say like, we don't have a lot of money, but we have people power. That is very true. You don't have to have a lot of money to get things done, but what you don't have in money, you can make up in people power. So that is why we emphasize regional groups or groups that can work together in an area around a common issue. You are stronger together. And so if you have a group of 5 or more people that can come together, we can talk about like, what is the next step to create a chapter? Next slide. Yep. So this is how we define a chapter at PWN. It's a regional group in key areas that is a group of 5 or more people who are our members. And our members are women. When we say women, we mean trans and cisgender women. So women, gender diverse folks, and people of trans experience living with HIV. This is who makes up PWN's membership. So it's groups of people in certain areas of the country who are PWN members. And these are groups of people who want to uphold our values, our vision, our mission, and we have alignment in our values and even our priorities. And they are organizing at a local level or regional or statewide level. I don't know if someone had questions, but I think we can keep going. Thank you. All right, so what does a chapter look like? Do y'all notice these faces? Who notices some folks? I see a lot of y'all here. This is what a chapter looks like. It doesn't have to look one way. It can look many different ways. We have our folks from Pennsylvania. We have folks from South Carolina. We have folks.
That's me, right?
Yep, I think that was Gracie. So we have folks from Texas, the greater Houston area, as well as the Dallas-Fort Worth area. So I think y'all might see your face in these pictures. But this is what a chapter looks like. Next slide.
Awesome. Thank you, Crystal. I love those pictures. I love seeing pictures of y'all. And if you don't know, just a little shameless plug, we do have a Flickr Well, y'all can look at all these pictures that we will be sharing tonight from however many years I think it goes back. We have pictures on there, and it's open to the chat to our members to view. So what a chapter does? What do y'all do? So we are organizers, and PWN chapters organize on an issue important to members and to communities. So important to you, the issues that you see in your local towns, your areas, that affect people living with HIV that you want to act on, and even and beyond that. Our chapters care deeply about its members and find ways to support one another by chapter meetings, but also understanding that our chapter meetings are not support group meetings. They are there for y'all to actually be talking about and discussing the work that you all are doing on the ground. Next slide. But that does not mean that it's not a supportive space. So who can be a part of the chapter? PWN chapter members is any women, so cisgender or transgender and gender diverse, gender nonconforming persons living with HIV who participates and organize with its local regional chapter. You can be a PWN member in a region that has a chapter and not be a part of the chapter if you choose. So what that means is that if you are in a state that's neighboring to a chapter, you can still attend those chapter meetings. You can support them, and even if it's not neighboring, like I know one of our chapters, our Texas chapter, Greater Houston, they have a Coalition Texas Strike Force, and that's open to a lot of our members in different states. Join that just to stay in the loop and support the Texas work. Um, and then also understanding that you're representing PWN. So when representing PWN, chapter members agree to conduct themselves according to PWN's mission, vision, and values, which you all make sure to include on your agenda. So you are every time you meet, you're refreshing yourself with the mission, vision, and values. And then also remembering to connect with PWN USA online and get added to our membership email list or get connected to a chapter. So if you are meeting people out in the field and you want to make sure that they are benefiting all of this greatness that PWN has to offer, staying in the loop as far as what the chapter has going on, you want to be able to direct them straight to the PWN website where they can view all of the chapters, all of the work that we have going on, and also become a member and get invited to exclusive things such as calls like this or our membership call. And then next slide, Crystal.
And Antoinette, can I just say something on this
Of
slide?
course.
Just to go back to this point of like, some people might live in your city and might identify as a PWN member, but not identify as a chapter member. And like folks, for example, I'm in Texas, I'm in Houston, there's a chapter here. There are people who are moving to Houston or and identify as a PWN member, but not connected with the chapter yet, or they might not just be ready for that type of, I guess, commitment or for whatever reason. So I just want to say, like, that is also a possibility. It doesn't, but the chapter is a space where we want to grow because, again, when you have more people, you can build more power. Okay, I'll stop there. Thank you, Antoinette.
No worries. Thank you for sharing that. And I'm actually passing it back to you to go over like PWN's views on disclosure.
Thank you. Okay, so we know that disclosure can be like really, really tricky, and folks have very strong feelings about disclosure. But at the end of the day, we believe that all women living with HIV, and remember, when I say women, I'm talking about all women, cisgender, transgender, gender diverse people, like anyone living with HIV can be a leader without having to disclose. Disclosure is a personal choice. And so there is a continuum of disclosure where in some spaces we know that members are open about their status, and then in some spaces they choose, not to speak about their HIV status. We know the reality of stigma still. So we allow and encourage people to take back their power around disclosure. It is your choice. You can still be a leader. You can still participate. In our spaces, disclosure does not have to be mandatory. It is not mandatory in order for you to be a leader. So I just wanted to put that out there so everybody can be clear about where we stand on disclosure. Thank you. Next slide. So once you have become an affiliated chapter of PWN, what type of support can you expect? Some things you can expect from PWN National is connection to a network of folks, women, trans folks, gender diverse people living with HIV across the nation. And I think folks on this call can really say that once you become a part of this community, like, we stand 10 toes down for everyone. I have seen y'all support one another in ways that I just feel very inspired and lucky to be a part of this community. The love that I see is really something that I don't see a lot. I don't know if y'all feel the same way, but definitely feel that. We also can provide you with resources like policy analysis and updates on like the latest national and local policy issues that affect us. Y'all have been, like, right now, abortion access in this country is very much in danger. And as a reproductive justice organization, we understand like the connection between what they do over here, they will do in other places. So we are not safe to not talk about how they are really threatening our reproductive rights just because it's in this area. So you get access to updates around policy issues. We always are offering trainings. This training is a part of a series of trainings that we're doing for the year. When people hear Positive Women's Network, there is a certain level of respect that comes with that. So when you speak on behalf of PWN, as an organized group of people or an organized constituency at your local level or regional level, you have the national network behind you, and we know that there is a certain level of respect that comes with that, and that is because we know what we're doing, and we work very hard to make sure that our communities are taken care of in this way. We also provide the ability to involve other members living with HIV in other places. There are times when we have funding. We believe in economic justice. And so we have really been trying to get more funding out to people on the ground, especially in our chapters. And then supporting, organizing, and publicizing events, activities, and even like help with graphics, things like that. So that is the type of support that comes to chapters. Next slide. Antoinette, you want to take this one over?
Awesome. Thank you, Crystal. So when we think about some chapter responsibilities, like how to successfully have the chapter take ownership of the work, and really like lead it and be at the forefront of it. We want to make sure that the chapter members are represented in any major PWN activities. We want you all to, and you all have done this already, but completing activity reports. If not, I believe we can drop the activity report form in the chat. You all have the opportunity to determine and develop your own budgets for the chapter. So how you plan on utilizing the monies to build new leaders, and then also um, maintain timely communication with PWN USA staff and or the board, including responding to emails, phone calls, text messages, or sometimes we may mail you stuff. Um, and just let us know that you received whatever it was in the mail. Um, Usually, I like to just send a text or a call because not everybody checks their emails all the time. Also, providing documentation of meetings and utilizing activity reports, campaign plans, donations, press releases, responding to evaluation reports, and so much and so forth. Um, you can even, I know some folks have Facebook pages, so posting pictures on your Facebook, showcasing the events that have taken place. If you're tabling on the ground, this is just some ideas of how you can provide documentation. Um, Ensure that PWN USA staff is kept aware of all your planned activities. So if you're going somewhere in the field, let us know. Let us know what you have going on. You're meeting with legislators, you're planning advocacy days, you're doing recruitment. All of the things that y'all are doing is best to keep us in the loop so that we can be aware. And also, I think for it's a safety thing too. Like we can know where you're at exactly, in case anything happens, we could be able to say this is the last space that this person was. Like we want to make sure that y'all are being safe wherever you are at on the field. Align chosen campaigns or events with the PWN's national advocacy agenda to reflect our mission, values, organizational plan, and PWN's work. So centering your work around reproductive health, wellness, reproductive justice, universal health care, all of those things, expanding Medicaid, all of those things really center our PWN's work and our values as well. Next slide.
Thank you, Antoinette. So in terms of like how to set up a chapter or how it looks, setting up a chapter, what we've seen with different chapters have been two different types of structures. We've seen chapters that only have members, and we've seen two chapters that use a hybrid structure. That means that they have members and they also allow like strong allies into their chapter work. For example, PWN Colorado and Pennsylvania, they do include members and allies in their chapter structure, like strong allies. And just something to think about, they have also been doing organizing around issues, but also like tying it back into election work and like doing campaigns around elections. So that's one of the reasons why you see like strong allies showing up in their space. So when you're thinking about your chapter structure, just think about what you want. There are some like benefits and there's some challenges with both, and we'll talk about that in the next slide. So here's something to think about. If you have only members in your chapter structure, there is like little to no base building potential. Base building means like your growth. Your growth is more limited when you limit your chapter structure to only members. On the flip side, having only members be a part of your chapter structure means that you all are the only leaders within your chapter. So developing your own leadership skills is a confidence boost. There's also like that, it also means like you are not living in isolation. You are with people who share some of your same experiences. And I also think that there is like, in terms of confidence building, there's a confidence that you have with one another when not only when y'all are talking about chapter business or chapter work. But like I said, you all have like similar experiences, or y'all live in the same area. So there's a relatability that happens when it's only members. And there is like, I understand there is also like a safety, or a safety in knowing that I can be my full self in this space and not worry about like stigma associated with my HIV diagnosis, for example. Only members, like I said, it highlights the leadership of the members. And it works well when there are strong community agreements amongst the group. Now, if there is a chapter structure with members and strong allies, like you have the potential to bring in more people, people who are allies. They might not be a part of PWN's membership, but they align with the values, and it gives you an opportunity to grow your chapter. The thing about a hybrid structure or having strong allies in your chapter is you have to make sure that the leadership of women and trans folks and gender diverse people living with HIV is always centered, and it's not shadowed or overshadowed by other people who are not members. So that is really something to pay attention to. Chapters with a member and strong ally structure or a hybrid structure also can be more sustainable because you have more people to tap into, to help with the work, to help organize. There's not burnout as quickly. But there also needs stronger community agreements about how we operate and how we function together. And then on the flip side, sometimes when allies are brought into chapter spaces, it can scare other members because they want to know that they will be safe, and their confidences will be kept. And they don't want to worry about, after we leave this chapter meeting, will my business be publicized? Like, will my confidences be kept? So that can be a challenge for hybrid structures. And when we open it up for questions, I would love to hear like folks' reflections about the different types of structures. But let us get through. We're almost done with this. Okay, next slide. All right, so officer roles. At the very basic structure, each chapter has 2 co-chairs, a secretary, and an outreach coordinator. Every chapter can decide what works best for them. Every chapter's needs are different. So if you find that you need something different, like PA is our Pennsylvania is one of our oldest chapters. They started out with the outreach coordinator, a Latinx outreach coordinator, an African American outreach coordinator. Like, I know Cookies on, like, some folks could tell you how this was set up. You can do what works for your chapter, but every role within your chapter is going to be important, and whatever officer is selected should be working together to make sure the chapter is successful, period. Okay, next slide. All right, y'all. So we want to open it up to questions and see like what is coming up for you. What is a little bit unclear that we need to go back and slow down and let's talk through it. But let's hear from y'all.
Hi, I have a question. I just joined Elder Dreddy. as her other co-chair. So my question is, because she already has a structure in New York City, am I to look for an outreach coordinator here and a secretary here, or am I just flowing with what she already has set up?
I think that's a really good question. And also something we didn't mention in a previous slide about like chapters forming in certain areas. So New York has a chapter that is statewide. And we also know that New York is really big, so that can sometimes make it challenging. Just like Texas is huge. So there's a Texas chapter, but there are two parts of the Texas chapter. Like there's the greater Houston area and there's Dallas Fort Worth. And a lot of times the greater Houston area is organizing and doing work in the greater Houston area. So I think my thought here, Dawn, my thought first is it might be interesting to consider like, okay, let's tap into what the New York chapter has already established. And like, then let's see what is needed and really think about like where y'all want to organize, what issues, what do you need to make it move? And then figure out, all right, so we might need to, I guess, split into two different areas, but there are challenges with that. And I know Dallas could talk about some of the challenges. Selena, I see you from Houston, can talk about some of the things that y'all are doing in Houston, but I don't know if that answered your question. Antoinette, I'm curious to see if you have thoughts too.
And I only
think-
asked that because I'm in downstate and she's in upstate, and I just want to make sure that I'm helping her the best that I can and that I'm doing what she needs me to do. So that's why I asked that question.
Hello, this is Elder. Okay, welcome, my little baby sister. Yes, you would be PWN upstate, and we're PWN New York City. But still, I would like, and we have discussed this, to just say PWN NYC. Although we might be on different, in regards to different issues or different campaigns that we may put together. But just like Texas, we are one familia, but separate entities, because you're all the way up north and I'm down in the city. So PWN NYC, yeah, we're PWN NYC, and then we're / PWN NYS. So her stuff, we will have flyers for New York State, but we will also have flyers for New York City, so that we can cover all of the counties that we have here in New York State. And we would help each other with whatever campaign or whatever issue or whatever event is going on. We will duly plan it to ensure that everybody is covered, so that people in New York that have people upstate can let them know, and vice versa. I hope that answered your question.
It did, thank you.
This is Connie, New York NYC chapter. I apologize, I have a new phone and I have not quite figured how to work all the features in it. But I just wanted to add to what Dawn asked and what Dreddy said, or Elder. We are a strong chapter and we've had some challenges, but to Dawn's point, I don't think you're gonna have to reach far or anywhere else to get all of the officers that we need. It's just a matter of us reorganizing, and getting some action started and doing some stuff. And it's going to pick up. So I just wanted to say that. And I love this recap of our mission and our vision and our values, because we are all strong women and we are all committed and we are all united And the more the merrier, or the more people, the stronger the power. So it's just a little while before things get going better or more. And we will be joining with other chapters around the country. Thank you. I just wanted to say that. Finished.
Thank you, Connie.
Hello, this is Ruby. Don, welcome to New York City, New York State. I welcome everyone else that's on here, and I do apologize. I just got in from work, but I'm looking forward to having Dawn along on this chapter and our new journey, and everyone else as well.
I love this. And you know what, Ruby, you made me think about something. How many of y'all are new chapter members? Can I get chapter members who have been a part of a chapter like a year or less to come off mute and say, woo, or say something?
Me?
Hey, I'm Tyra from Alabama. I'm new, like this April, joining this movement.
Oh, I love this. Hi, Tyra.
Hey, how you doing?
Yeah.
Hi, Tyra. Yay,
Hey, Antoinette. Hey.
Antoinette. Hey.
I love this.
Hey,
Anybody
Myra.
Hey,
Yes,
y'all have to
Toy.
forgive me. I am in transit. I'm going to spend the night in Tuscaloosa so I can see you ladies tomorrow in Birmingham at the Reunion Town Hall, the Reunion Project Town Hall meeting. So, on my
Wonderful.
way.
Welcome, everyone. Maria, Jeanette, Tyra. Hi, Crystal. Wanda. Who else? Antoinette. Well, Dreddy. Barb. I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on. Francina, Sarah, Selena, Millicent, Connie, Shadrick, I think it is. Stephanie, Miss Jamie, Roxanne, Joyce, I think that's Gracie, Katie, and Lucille. Hi, everyone. Welcome.
Hey, thank you. Thank you. Glad to be here.
Oh,
Thank
yeah. That's my peoples. That's my peoples.
Everybody.
Hey.
Now,
I
this
love
hey
them.
everyone.
I love them.
Do we have any other questions from folks that either me and Crystal can answer, or even some of the fellow chapter members?
Well, I just
Hello,
want to
can
say
you hear me?
I'm new to this. This is Tyra from Alabama, and I'm just excited to learn. Like I said, I'm fairly new to this, so I'm learning a lot. Just a few meetings I've been to. So just glad to be here. Glad to learn from everybody, learn to grow, and to live this life with you guys.
So happy to have you, Tyra. Welcome to the most powerful movement you will ever be a part of.
Thank you.
Good evening, ladies. My name is
Maria.
aka Cookie. I'm going to answer a question that Crystal had said about being here in Pennsylvania. I am the co-chairperson from Pennsylvania. I've been with PWN for going for 14 years now. Okay. When we started PWN here in Pennsylvania, okay, it was we had a Latina coordinator, that was me. We had a youth coordinator for young kids. We had a transgender coordinator. We had a girl in color for Okay, we had 5 or 6 of us. Okay, understand? And we started with a little group. Okay, we came to be a big group. Okay, now we're trying to get this group to get much bigger in here in Pennsylvania.
Thank you, Cookie.
Hello, this is one from Forward. We were trained by the Dallas chapter some years ago. In the last year, we've kind of been not meeting and stuff, and it's always been, we had to go to Dallas to meet, which I don't have a problem with. Roxanne recently asked me to be co-chair because it was just me and her, kind of, sort of. And that's really not fine because we haven't met since then. And I'm trying to get women in Fort Worth to get active, to get involved, because a lot of people say they're members but are not active. We've been involved, or I've been involved with the strike force. I just text Tanner, we've got members from all over that we know each other, but we got to get it together. And we're trying to reorganize and get the DFW chapter together, which is Fort Worth and Dallas mainly and surrounding areas. So we're going to need some help in just organizing and restructuring.
Thank you, Miss Wanda. And I have your information from Tana as well. So I'm really excited about what y'all can do in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I'm also always curious about, like, what are some of the real challenges folks are facing? I see Myra's hand, then I want to throw that question out because I would love to hear, like, what are some of the real challenges y'all are facing in your chapters? Maybe that can help inform this training series as well. Myra, I'll pass it to you.
I also want to add before Myra goes that I'm trying to schedule, Miss Wanda, Antoinette, I'm trying to schedule a meeting with y'all next week so that we can talk about some of y'all plans, your ideas, and y'all goals. We did have a meeting in last year around November, December time, and we talked briefly, but we have to continue that. I know the chapter has been refreshed and rebranded, going through a few things, but just know that we're gonna get things going. Let's get a meeting on the calendar next week and have these conversations.
Thank you so much.
Awesome. Okay, go ahead, Myra.
Hi, everybody. Myra Franks, Alabama chapter of PWN. I'm the outreach coordinator. And I heard you say something, Crystal, about taking back power over disclosure. Is that the way you put it? Being the outreach coordinator and trying to be visible, so we can increase membership and bring awareness. There's a certain amount of fear, when you have done things in the past. So what would taking back that power about our disclosing our status look like? And that is one of my challenges. Also living in a rural area, sometimes internet issues and things like that. Those are some of the challenges that I face. But the biggest one is being more visible, and dealing with the fear around that. Crystal?
I love that question, Myra. I think that's a fantastic question. And I'm also curious to hear from folks, like, how are y'all navigating disclosure in your areas? I already know in Alabama, like, stigma is one of the high issues in the state. And I have some thoughts about how to do it. I also recognize that I am what we would consider an accomplice. I am not, my experience is not of someone who is living with HIV. So I am someone who is looking in eyes and ears and helping my people figure out, okay, how we gonna get this, how we gonna get it together. So I'm wondering, like, how are folks navigating disclosure in a chapter? Yeah, while you're doing your chapter work. I know many of you are doing it. So I want to
Hello,
hear.
this is Elder. First and foremost, with that part right there, the stigma and the disclosure, I have to come at it part clinical and part clergy. First, to understand the depths of whatever trauma the individual has been through, and if there's fear on disclosing or they just choose not to. And if they do, how to support them. And if it is taken out, if somebody does disclose somebody's status, which we have dealt with that, believe it or not, in New York City twice already this year, is to step two, I'm using the wrong terminology, I'm a little ghetto right now, is to contact the individual that it happened to, find out exactly the exact story, because there's 3 sides to every story, and then go to the individual that disclosed the information, and to find out exactly the reason why they did what they did. Maybe they didn't have the knowledge that they weren't supposed to do it. Maybe they were just being mean. Whatever it is, we in New York have learned how to deal with it. Yes, we first get angry, but then we discuss amongst each other, which we have done on our Facebook page, which is private, or we've done amongst ourselves, and we've gone forward and dealt with the situation. You have to look at all sides of the story to see what the problem is on the disclosure issue. Disclosure issue can lead to suicide. Disclosure issue can lead to intimate partner violence. So it's really important that we approach this delicately, with empathy, and with knowledge in order to deal with that situation. Oh, sorry, I'm having problems breathing now.
It's okay. The question that I also hear Myra asking is specifically around disclosure for self, especially if you may have a path that you have walked on in the past. So how do you, of course, prioritize want to disclose, or comfortability around disclosure, but also knowing that the streets be talking, or you have a past. We all have past. So what would that look like, and still having that safety, that comfort level?
So may I speak?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Connie.
So we know that disclosure is always ultimately a personal decision, or whatever you want to call it. So every person's journey is different. So in my experience and my observation of my peers, personally, I've had to work on myself to grow and become empowered, and that's for everyone. Everybody's level is different. Second, I've had support. We have to support each other. And when I say support each other, not only amongst ourselves, but in the public eye. And so what I have seen, observed, and participated in and committed to is being in spaces with my sisters, my peers, when we're talking about being HIV positive. You understand? So it helped me by having the support of others and the encouragement to get educated and learn and continuing my personal growth. So that's the main part of it right there. Once a person can become comfortable with themselves through, their education and empowerment journey, then they can, when we stand together, we feel stronger, we become stronger. And that's part of the process. We just have to continue to be together and support each other in all spaces. And let people know you are not alone. I'm not alone. And, eventually it builds up. It builds up. Some people get there, some people don't get there. But that's the baseline that I think we have been doing and need to continue to help people along in their process to become that person to say, I could speak of this. This is reality. This is my reality. And I accept myself. I love myself. And I know who I am. I know what I do. And I do what I do and so forth and so on. Does any of that make sense? Notwithstanding what
That makes, yeah, that makes a lot of sense, Connie. Makes a lot of sense. I tend to, I have to piggyback on that as well. As for my sisters that from other states, I do understand. I was, I'm from Memphis originally, so I understand the dilemma, and I feel like that, when addressing stigma and disclosure, and being able to, to be able to advocate and, reach out to women that are positive and make them feel comfortable. I feel like some of us may be there, some of us may not, but I feel like for me, what I do is not only I not only represent in New York City as while I'm a PWN representative, but when I speak out and do other things when I go to Memphis, so Memphis is like a small town where mostly everybody's poor in the neighborhoods that I know of, and they're all sitting on the front porch, and no health care and things like that. So the manner in which you go and you address people that you feel like you need the information that you have to share, and try to reach the chapter that if there's a chapter in that particular town, I feel like, you've come this far. We are on this Zoom. I feel like we have enough courage, and we have enough faith and hope, and support that it brings us to that point where, we are able to go ahead and speak out. Now, in some places, you have to be able to tiptoe, but still reach someone. You have to evaluate whatever city, whatever town you're at. It's easy for me to say because I personally do not feel like I need to hide what my diagnosis or who I am. I feel like that's my armor, and whoever do not understand it, well, that's on them. Long as I get to hear, long as I get someone that that is in need of hearing whatever I have to say. So maybe we can have maybe I'm thinking too far, but maybe we can have a particular Zoom on suggestions on just what we're trying to figure out. That's just me.
I like that. Thank you.
Yeah, sounds good to me because like it is literally like kind of hard, and like some of the women over here do not want to come out. So like it's actually kind of hard because like Kenya knows that been trying to like recruit women over here and stuff, but they'll like look like my behind got to go all up and down Jersey just to find out and see who want to join. So and Kenya knows about ready to go ahead out there and do that. Just travel around.
That was my struggle when I was living in Jersey, Gracie, because I know that half those women didn't come out, and it was a hindrance on my progress.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That's why I moved across the bridge.
Yes. So I appreciate this conversation, and I think that what it is bringing up. Oh, Barb, I see your hand. I think what it is bringing up is like challenges, disclosure is feeding into challenges with recruitment and retention. And that is something we will talk about in the third series. So I
Stigma too. Stigma too. That's
Stigma.
why some of them will come out.
Yep. And I think it's all tied into that, And I think it is good to get deeper into this because this is very like real as an issue. And PWN, our strength is like us being able to show up fully as who we are. And Myra, when you ask me like, how do you push past the stigma? I think maybe this is on a very superficial level, but when I see y'all showing up just as who you are, exactly how you are, there's so much damn power in that. And it is inspiring to people. And it also, I do think, fights back on that. It pushes back on that stigma because not everybody knows someone who is living with HIV. And they definitely don't see them in like all of your like truth and strength and vulnerability and all of those things. And it humanizes you all as people. So Barb, I don't know if you wanted to add something too, but that's kind of what came up to me.
Yeah, I do want to add something to it because I think that this is a really interesting conversation. And I'm just going to put back up the slide about disclosure because I helped write this and I am really open about my status, and there's privilege in that. Privilege that I don't need to worry about my employer finding out. Privilege in that I don't need, because my employer is PWN. So yeah, that's okay. Privilege that I don't have kids that are in school who might be stigmatized if my status is shared. We know even now that HIV is really stigmatized. And so again, I just want to circle back, which is that this is the ever ongoing challenge about how we encourage people to disclose their status if that feels right for them, if that is safe for them, if that is if that is a path that they want to walk. And oftentimes by being around other leaders who are comfortable being open about their status, people who are worried about that can feel more comfortable disclosing. And this is the reason why I wanted to come off of mute, because I think it's really an important piece. As chapter leaders, we need to think about how people can be a part of our chapter and feel safe, even if they're not comfortable disclosing. And part of what we've done with Colorado is that we say we're PWN members and allies, so that if folks are not wanting to disclose their status, they can be an ally. And they can march with us, and they can organize with us, and they can canvas with us, and they can do so much. And so that's the challenge for us as leaders, is to be able to think about how folks who might not be comfortable disclosing can be a part of our movement as well. They can write letters to the editor. They can phone bank if that's what a chapter is doing. They can join chapter calls and really be able to participate in so many ways. And so that's going to be, and I look forward to the third part of the conversation to really think about, so how do we think about this HIV stigma? Because we know what's the most important thing that impacts stigma related to HIV is for someone to know someone living with HIV, to be able to see that we're just like they are. And again, that for many folks, being open about their status isn't safe, and we need to be able to acknowledge that as well. That's the double-headed challenge around stigma, and what we really both seek to work with and to challenge. And so really just appreciate all this conversation, and just wanted to share that one last little bit there about that.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Barb. I do see a couple of questions in the chat that I want to come back to. So I saw a question that asked, like, I'm trying to put a chapter in, for example, New Jersey together. Basically, like, how do I do that? And I think this is a really good question that we get all the time. Like, I want to start a chapter, I live in Ohio, or I want to start a chapter, I live somewhere else. I think what we, like, just being honest with y'all, the thing that we as staff kind of struggle with is like, how do we support members who want to organize in groups and have people together versus like, what do we actually have the capacity to do? We have 8 chapters, and when y'all are busy, we are running. And so it's really hard to figure out, how do we balance supporting the chapters that we have, and then how do we bring on new chapters? Is it time for us to bring on new chapters? That is really a struggle that we're thinking through. We don't have the answer yet, but we hear it. So I just want to name, like, there are real capacity issues, because the goal is not for y'all to just become a chapter and get like, and be unsupported, because we also have heard from y'all that, you know, when y'all don't get the support you need, we are failing y'all. We're not really, it's not helpful. So we're thinking through that. We don't have an answer right now, but that's really something we're trying to think about. What do we have the capacity to do? I don't know, have the answer yet.
Well,
We have the
well, like basically, right? I live in Jersey, and so like shoot, I can talk about this. Now, the challenges in New Jersey, half of the people don't even know if they have HIV or not. They don't get checked. Second of all, right, North Jersey do not have no type of like support groups are going on up there or anything. You know what I mean? So like, you know what I mean? Everybody just hiding it and just running around with it and not saying anything about it. Without them trying to go ahead and literally find out if they have it or not. Third of all, there is no support down here about anything. That is the main reason why I literally want to start one in New Jersey, because everybody needs to go ahead and know about what's going on with themselves and be confident and what have you. Camden, New Jersey. But they're like just trying to do it for the whole New Jersey.
Okay,
So,
can I respond to her real quick? This Iris House is in New Jersey. They're in Plainfield. I personally have worked in Jersey, in Camden. We have did different events. We've called it differently for women to come out. And you're right, your people, the ladies did not want to come out. Excuse me. We had hamburgers, hot dog, ribs, potato salad, the whole 9 yards. Giving them gift cards for testing. I'm talking with them, backpacks for the kids. It's been difficult. It has been difficult. I call parts of Jersey like I call parts of the South. They're like a suburbia to me. You know, suburbia is difficult for people to travel. And that's another thing in Jersey because of the travel of the buses and stuff like that. But if you want assistance, you're more than welcome to contact me. And I will assist you because I'm in New York, but I've done a lot of work in Orange, etc. A bunch of work everywhere, but I can help you with Jersey. I can help you with Jersey. If PWN USA says yes, then we can go ahead and do a little something. And as for support groups, I can connect you with support group that you can do online until you get people to do it in person. And PWN has a support group that we do, what is it, once a month or every 2 weeks. So we will give you that information.
yes, we do. And thank you. I need the help any way possible. And Kenya even told me, well, hey, we want to help you too. So
Antoinette,
I didn't
Antoinette, that's Gracie. Gracie, this is Antoinette. Get more acquainted with each other.
I also second what Elder Antoinette has said. As far as like organizing on the ground, so being able to get the people together is the first step of before we can like be like, oh yes, let's get a chapter in Jersey, let's move forward, because we can't move forward if the community isn't showing up. And you can do that on your own in many different ways, just like Elder said, using Facebook, meeting up in person. Just start with your little small tidbits, start very small, and then it will grow on its own. Start with things that are important to people. What's happening in Jersey that's prohibiting people from coming together? Those issues are super important. It could be a transportation issue, and y'all can start combating or attacking that on the ground, you know, like small things, small buckets, and then it will grow larger. And just because, and even if you don't have the large capacity of support, the same way the PA chapter will like, okay, thank you. The same way the PA does, or any of our other chapters, we will at least have y'all in our mind as far as Jersey is also doing work in support of PWN, in support of leadership, you know, and all of those things. So definitely I encourage it. But just with the understanding of the fact that we do have so many chapters right now that we're trying to support. And of course, as we are hiring more people and having more space and more capacity, we want to be able to support those chapters with all of our effort, not just like, oh, here's a little support here. No, we want to be able to support from the front to the back, to the left and the right, however it need be. So, yeah. And I'm going to pass it back to Barb or Crystal to go ahead and just close us out.
Yes. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. I really appreciate all of the discussion, the dialogue, the questions. And I know that this is not going to be like the last conversation we have. So, next month, we will continue to have conversations about building an effective chapter. And we'll talk about more about organizing, organizing principles. What does it mean to be an organizer? What does it mean to organize around issues or do issue-based organizing? And what is and what isn't chapter work? I think we also should continue to talk about our values as chapters and as PWN. It's about the language we use. It's about the way we treat each other, the way we approach the work. So all of that is what we will tie into the next two trainings. The next training will be May 25th, Thursday, May 25th, same time, same place. And then the last training will be in June. They will be recorded, so no worries if you can't make it, but we would love to have y'all here again. So thank y'all so much for joining tonight. Please stay connected with us. Stay connected with one another. I see you exchanging information. I love to see it. So I'm gonna wrap us up here, but we will be in touch in the virtual streets, and some of y'all, we will see y'all in person this year. So take care, y'all, and have a good night. Thanks.
Good night, all.
Night, night.
Everyone. Good night, everybody. Have a great night.
Bye. Bye, everybody. Y'all
night.
have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey,
Thank
Barb,
y'all.
sorry
Bye.
I was late.